I'm Beth. I'm a graduate student at Findlay's Office of International Education, and when I was an undergrad, I studied abroad at Kansai Gaidai in Japan, right about here between Osaka and Kyoto. And when you study abroad, there's a lot of excitement with packing and getting ready and wondering what it'll be like, what will your host family be like, how will classes be, will the Japanese that I learned, will I be able to survive? There's a lot to think about. But what you don't think about is how difficult it actually is to come back to your home country. Even adjusting to only using your native language again, you would never think that that would be difficult, but even that was strange, to suddenly be in an all-English environment again, even though that's my main language. And you have so many exciting stories and experiences that you have abroad, and you'd think that, wow, I mean, this was so amazing, everybody's going to think this was really cool, and they're going to want to hear about everything I got to experience. Like, I climbed a mountain, I got to see these great shrines, and lots of great food. But what I found is, especially from acquaintances, they would say, oh, so how was your time in China? And then you just sort of, actually it was Japan, oh cool, so what are you doing next weekend? There was just not as much excitement as you would hope from people. I mean, you feel like you had this great life-changing experience and not everybody agrees with you. Because what you realize is that while you were having this time abroad, everything was going as it normally was at home. Everything is still happening, and when you get back, everybody's adjusted, but you feel sort of left behind because all this stuff has happened and they're in the loop, and suddenly you feel like, oh, am I a part of this still? You kind of feel disconnected a little bit, and it's sort of awkward because they don't understand how you feel, and it's hard to explain. It's really important to think about how you talk to people when you come back and who you talk to get adjusted. Even though you might feel sort of a letdown, it's not good to go back to your friends at your university or to your family and say, oh, everything was just so cool there and now I'm just so bored, or I really wish I could see my friends back there because here I just feel so, lonely. That's really not what anybody wants to hear. It might be how you really feel, but what they're hearing is, oh, I had a great time without you and I wish I could leave again. So you have to kind of be conscious of how people are interpreting what you say. I also found that it really helps if you talk to people who have also studied abroad, and you can connect with them, and even if they didn't study in the same country you studied in, there's a lot you can connect with. Like, one of my roommates had studied abroad in Peru for a semester, and even though we had very different experiences abroad, that feeling of being away and having to adjust to come back, we could really connect on that. So talking with her helped a lot. And I also found that even though you're not in that country you used to be in, there's a lot of ways you can stay connected, whether it be talking with people in your Japanese class, meeting students on campus from Japan or who have interest in Japan, Skyping or Facebooking friends back home and my host family. Those things really help, so you don't feel so suddenly detached from everything that you got used to. I think that in some ways it's actually more difficult to come home than it was to go to a different country. Even though I was experiencing a new culture, a language that I didn't have a lot of experience with, actually stepping off the plane back into my own homeland was a more surreal experience than going into a totally different place.